Who knows? Maybe Anna Boden, Ryan Fleck, and Kevin Feige will tap into something that just wasn't there in the comics and rebuild her from the ground up on film.
Obviously, this particular comment didn't age too well.
You're now watching the Mystical Green Beanie.
Okay, so to be fair, Captain Marvel was better than I expected it to be. I watched a bunch of reviews, and Jeremy Jahns gave it the same score he gave the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman. Tyrone Magnus said it was the worst Marvel film he'd ever seen. And there were a bunch of other reviews that just said the movie was boring and not great, and I went into this film expecting Fant Four Stick. What I got was Tim Story's Fantastic Four. It's not bad, but it's not great either. I'll say it like this. If this movie came out 20 years ago, it would have been mind-blowing. Unfortunately, it didn't come out 20 years ago. It released in a post-Dark Knight, post-Avengers, post-Logan, post-Deadpool, post-Man of Steel world. We're doing very different things with comic book movies now, and this film, ironically enough, feels like a late 90s superhero movie, but, like, unintentionally so. Now, all that said, I feel very confident in saying that this was the most I've cared about Carol Danvers since Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Kind of? I still think Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes is the best portrayal of that character in any medium. Then again, that feels like cheating since that show is the best adaptation of the Marvel Universe. Like, period. But more to the point, the Captain Marvel movie is a great adaptation of the more recent comics where Carol is a really boring and uninteresting character despite the narrative trying to tell me otherwise, with plot threads and themes that I think can be interesting and cool if they were being played out in a story that felt like it wasn't a waste of my time. But again, like I said, this movie isn't all bad. In fact, I think if you're a Marvel fan or a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you are gonna love this movie. It has comedy, it has action, it has references to Marvel lore, and it's a giant Easter egg hunt for the entire Marvel Studios Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Pegasus facility from the first Avengers movie is here, an early model of the Quinjet makes an appearance, Ronan the Accuser's in this film as well, and he's actually wearing the colors from the comics, and he's not being played as a joke like he was in the first Guardians film, which I thought was really cool. And I will say that this movie does things with certain staples of the Marvel Universe that I prefer to the comics, actually. Specifically the Skrulls. I don't like how the Skrulls are always written to be these monstrous infiltrators who are bad because bad. I actually like how nuanced the Skrulls in this movie are, and how they're just refugees looking for a home, and the real villains are the Kree Empire. And this movie basically does Secret Invasion, but, like, actually does something interesting with it. I also like Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. He plays the role a little differently, and I think that works for the narrative. Plus, the de-aging CGI they do for him is fantastic. He looks exactly like 90s Nick Fury, or, much rather 90s Samuel L. Jackson. Sorry, I get the two confused, but they're the same person. I also liked Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. She does remarkably well with what she's given, and I'll talk more about that when I get there. But I really feel like she elevated the script and delivered a solid performance despite lacking some of the necessary directing I think her character required. Oh, and the Stan Lee tribute was great. It really got to me when I saw it, and yeah, pour one out for my homie. And that's kind of where my positives end. This movie has a lot of problems. First and foremost, it has prequelitis out the ass. Like, I thought Solo was egregious. Bruh, this was on a whole new level. And let me just say this real quick. I don't hate prequels. I'm not one of those people who's like, ugh, why would I watch a prequel? We already know how the story ends. Because for me, it's less about the destination and more about the journey. Some of my favorite stories are prequels. Star Wars Dawn of the Jedi, Prometheus, Devil May Cry 3, Before Watchmen, Captain America the First Avenger, Batman Arkham Origins, Hellboy and the VPRD, Kizu Monogatari. So, the problem isn't the fact that it's a prequel. The problem is that this is a bad prequel. Like Solo, or The Thing, or Rob Zombie's Halloween. The problem is that this film is a prequel within a franchise, and it feels the need to give an explanation for everything in said franchise. How did Nick Fury lose his eye? How did S.H.I.E.L.D. come up with the Avengers Initiative? Where does the Quinjet come from? Hey look, it's that S.H.I.E.L.D. base that got blown up in the first Avengers movie. It was just so distracting. Also, this film results in quite a few continuity errors. Like, in the Avengers, when Nick Fury is justifying S.H.I.E.L.D. weaponizing the Cosmic Cube, and he blames it on Thor. Like, bro, 16 or 17 years ago, you watched this 5'8", 120-pound Super Saiyan lay waste to an entire alien armada. But the Asgardian scares you. Okay. Also, you mean to tell us that when heaven rained hell upon Manhattan, you had the option of calling Captain Marvel, and you didn't take it, because it wasn't an emergency. Or when portals to alternate dimensions were opening over London, you didn't call her because it wasn't an emergency. Okay. Also, the Cosmic Cube can give people powers now? I mean, if this was the comics, then sure. The Cosmic Cube is basically a wish-granting machine in the comics. I mean, it can do whatever you want it to do. But in the MCU, the Cosmic Cube is very much a quantum gate opening thing. It opens portals and blows people up. That's what it does. But in this movie, it gives Carol her powers. And it's really dumb. Then there's the whole thing with Carol's character arc, which I can see what they were going for, but the whole control your emotions and suppress your humanity idea ultimately falls flat because this film doesn't go far enough with that idea. Because the Kree warriors who are talked about like they're the Jedi have nuances and quirks. And that flies in the face of Carol's arc with her struggling with emotional suppression and embracing a warrior-like stoicism. And throughout the film, Brie Larson kind of delivers all of her lines the exact same way. And that's not a slight against her. That's an issue with direction more so than anything else. And speaking of direction, the action in this film is
whack.
It's bland and cheap and feels like I'm watching a CWDC TV show on the big screen. Some of the fight scenes use shaky cam and have poor lighting, and for the life of me, I can't tell you what happens in the final battle. I've already forgotten what happens. I can tell you exactly what happens in the final battle of Batman v Superman. I can tell you exactly what happens in the final battle of Captain America the First Avenger. I can tell you what happens in the final battle of Logan. Or what happens in the final battle of Wonder Woman. But I don't remember how the climax of this film resolves. Oh, and this was just a thing that I have with pop culture in general, and this film is of no exception. I am absolutely sick and tired of this 90s nostalgia. I'm over it. I've been over it. And it's not even like we're doing anything new. You know, everyone just... They keep referencing the same three things. Blockbuster, dial-up, and Nirvana.
Stop! Stop! No.
Stop! Also, Come As You Are plays during the scene where Carol is talking to the Supreme Intelligence, which makes no sense because Come As You Are dropped in 1992 and Carol was abducted in 1989, and this film takes place in 1995. So... like, how would she know what that song is? Like, I get it, your movie takes place during the 90s, but stop. Seriously, please stop. I am begging you. I would rather gag on a 12-inch dildo that blasted 80s techno out of the speakers that I located on its balls and squirted lukewarm lemon juice in the back of my throat than be subjugated to more mind-numbing 90s nostalgia. So please, please, just stop. Thank you. But yeah, that was Captain Marvel. And again, I don't hate this movie. It's not one of the worst comic book movies I've ever seen. It's not even my least favorite Marvel movie. I'd much rather watch this over Iron Man 2, or Spider-Man Homecoming, or Thor the Dark World. Thor Ragnarok, maybe? I mean, at least Thor Ragnarok had some dynamic action sequences. But outside of the MCU, it's better than the last two Fantastic Four movies we've had. It's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's a million times better than Suicide Squad. And it's maybe on par with Joss Whedon's Justice League for me. It's fine. It's a fine movie that could have been great. And honestly, this just feels like Marvel Studios on autopilot, which I know I say a lot, but after watching this movie, I think I might be overusing that term. Because Doctor Strange feels less corporate and more unique than Captain Marvel. Same with the Ant-Man movies and Spider-Man Homecoming. Because this feels like a soulless corporate product. And if we're being honest here, I am not looking forward to seeing this character Deus Ex Machina Thanos back to Titan and undo Infinity War. But again, if you love the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they can do no wrong in your eyes, then this is the movie for you. So yeah, anyways, those are my thoughts, but what about you? Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? What are your thoughts on Carol Danvers just as a character? What do you think about her? Let me know down below in the comment section. Also, if you like this video, hit the like button, share it to the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, all you have to do is subscribe. I'm the Mystical Green Beanie. Thank you for watching, and as always, until next time, adios nachos, adios.